about the size of this thing. This is the receiver of one unit, the Duga 1 unit, and they had also transmitter 50 kilometers away in another secret town, Lubitsch 1. So this receiver consists from two antennae. You can see the bigger one and smaller. The bigger one is up to 150 meters. And the smaller one just up to 100 meters. And the length of the construction is 750 meters together. And all this thing weighs around 18,000 tons of metal. This is just a part of one unit. You remember they had 3 units, 2 parts in each. So such a cool, expensive thing. So how it was supposed to work? As you all know, I hope, the Earth is round. I hope no objection.
Well, some people argue that, but
I hope it's not you.
no.
And we have a lot of atmospheric layers around our round Earth. And let's say from this side we have USA, and here we have USSR. And in 20th century was discovered an atmospheric layer called ionosphere. And it was discovered it can reflect some radio signal. And this property of the ionosphere was the main for the whole over-the-horizon radar idea. And let's say USA decides to attack and send those nuclear missiles, ballistic missiles, nuclear armed. They would send a lot at once, no point to send couple, because you can get the feedback. So they would send a lot, and USSR just beaming the signal of a regular radar. They won't cover much space because the signal would be straight, and at some point it will go to the open space because the Earth is round. So you will be able to detect something before, like in about 5 minutes before the final stop. This is not enough even to go to the toilet before you die. So this over-the-horizon radar, it was meant to send lower signal which would be reflected from the ionosphere and then be reflected back to the Earth's surface, then back to the ionosphere, and from the ionosphere to the Earth's surface, and so on and so forth. And the most important, some part of the signal, it will go the original way back scattering signal. And you need a very big receiver to catch this signal that will be returning, because it's very, very weak. So they built this huge thing. And what actually was detected? Not the body of a missile, because it's small, but when a intercontinental ballistic missile flies, it burns a lot of fuel and it causes disturbances in the ionosphere, depletions, and they would be detected by the radio signal. So this data travels back, and you can see the horizontal wires. The radio signal will be reflected from the horizontal wires in those white cages. They were called vibrators, and they were full of very sensitive electronics. So then, from those vibrators, the data goes through cables inside of those pipes back to the huge electronic calculating machine in the command post. It is a 3-floor building, just an enormous building for one computer, of a very low capacity for nowadays. But back then, in the 70s, it was such a sophisticated machine. And Then, after EVM, electronic calculating machine processes this data. Human specialists also process it, and the whole process takes 8 minutes. And they can tell if something was launched from the territory of the USA. So, average time that takes for an intercontinental ballistic missile to fly from US to USSR was about 40 minutes. 8 minutes you spend detecting the launch, and you have 32 minutes to first strike back, second prepare how to die. Great defense strategy, isn't it? Everything looks nice, but there was a problem. Actually, the ionosphere is not always stable. And for example, this one is facing north, and over the North Pole, it's never stable. And they only discovered it after they finished the whole system. And
Wow.
the capacity was very low, like if you have very good weather, because it doesn't, the ionosphere is not stable at night, during the rain, whatever happens to the weather. Only in a very sunny day, if it's dry, everything's good, it works. But what if USA decides to attack when it's raining?
Wow.
We are doomed. So, of course, the engineers, well, they didn't want to be shot against the wall, and they were saying like, oh, we can improve everything, and they really tried. They came up with many ideas. For example, they built an auxiliary system called Krug, the circle, a couple kilometers from here, maybe 5 kilometers, and it was also not cheap, in form of a circle, and it was zoned in the ionosphere to tell when exactly it doesn't work. Well, of course, it does not improve the ionosphere itself, so it didn't help much. And also, there was a problem, the most minor problem of all, that the low frequencies interfered with some civil communications. Radio hobbyists could hear very annoying tapping noise instead of their broadcast. And also it interfered the radio lengths where source signal is usually being, which they use for source signal in transoceanic flights. And Western countries complained to the Soviet Union, like, guys, what do you have there? It interferes our civil communications, it can cause us trouble and even human victims. And Soviets are like, no, it's not us, you're lying, we don't know about this radar, it's not ours. But then it was all happening in 70s, and space satellites already existed, so Soviet government received a picture taken from the space of that quite big thing. And they were, well, this one, yeah, we know what is this, it is a weather forecast station. Why not? So of course there were many conspiracy theories, many speculations, and if Soviets say it's a weather forecast station, it should be a weather weapon. Other people thought that the tapping noise is going to dissolve your brain and make you a communist. But don't worry, they invented protection. You should go to your kitchen and ask your mom to give you a kitchen foil. Then you make a hat and your brain is protected. 5G. If you have one. And what happens next? After all this trouble, nothing works, and this stupid Russian woodpecker, well, they improved at least the tapping noise. It was annoying the whole world for 10 years, but finally they improved it. But still, nothing worked much. And here the accident happens. And a lot of radioactive dust was brought by wind. It settled down on the sensitive electronics. And you remember electronics burns down from radiation. So it didn't work before, and afterwards it was way much worse. The town was evacuated. The families of the militaries, of course, they were evacuated same day as Pripyat, but some militaries stayed to do something over it. And as they are militaries, the first idea was to wash it and repaint. Maybe it will help. So I've heard that they spent a couple months doing it, but look, it's clean and shiny. Of course, it didn't help. So for a couple years, they stayed here trying to do something, and finally abandoned, and it stayed secret until the collapse of the Soviet Union, and even 5 years more after the collapse. And this whole place stayed closed and guarded until 2013, and only from that time we are able to come here to visit it. Before it was closed, because they still thought they can bring it down and sell the metal. Of course, but it is impossible. You can see it's still here. That means it's just impossible. Just impossible, because they really tried. You cannot bring it down using explosives, because it will make a shockwave. First it will raise the dust, and more dangerous, it may disturb the object shelter. It's very close. We don't need it. And they tried to cut it piece by piece, even started, but it didn't work because it's more expensive to do than you will get from the metal. So now, in the year 2020, we have the most expensive decoration for your Instagram pictures. Take your pictures.
Overpopulated cities around the world have caused people to become a greedy, selfish, and litigious society. Would you like to be happier, live longer, never be forgotten, and help make the world a kinder, more civil place? It's actually easier than you think. Every day you're asked, how are you? Instead of saying good, say I am fantastic. It will make you look better, feel great, and reduce your stress. Making the world a better place starts with each person. Please join the Be Fantastic movement today. What you want to be, you can be. Be fantastic.